What is your favorite part of this week so far?
I really liked going to News 8, and I like learning a lot about like how cameras work and photography. And I love taking pictures, so this is something I really like.
What is something that you have learned from this week so far?
I didn't know that they had like the words for the people to say on the camera screen. Oh, so that they look straight at the camera. I mean, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I never really would have thought of that myself.
Yeah.
And that studios are way less advanced than you'd think. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, that was nothing.
What is your favorite part of this week so far?
I have to say that my favorite part of this week is going to Wood TV 8 and learning how a news station is run, how everything works, and how all the news reporters get together and share their information. It's just so fascinating.
How does iXplore influence your relationship with God?
Well, I must say that through seeing all of the things that God made closer up with a zoom, it's just striking.
At Wood TV 8, more is going on than most people think. At this news station, everything runs on a plan. This plan is called the Rundown, and it is extremely important. The Rundown tells people when they need to be, where they need to be, and what is being filmed. The show is always prepared ahead of time, so that people always know where to be. Even though, if breaking news is discovered, the news can change at any moment.
Through your job as well?
I knew that you guys would ask me that question, and I've been thinking about that. The way my faith affects me in my job, how I try to use it, is mostly behind the scenes, and I'll tell you why. In decision making and how we report difficult situations, I try to keep in mind that every story we tell, for instance, this is a really rough one, but one that broke last night. There's a young man who shot and killed a police officer. There are not a lot of people out there who feel sorry for this man, but guess what? He's still a man. And he's still one of God's children. And he, last night he attempted suicide, and he's on life support. And you know, there's a lot of people who hate this man because of what he did. And I just try to keep in mind that he has a family too. And he may have done something really wrong, but he still has a family and friends who care about him no matter what. And he's still one of God's children. So I try to take that tone into my reporting. I still have to report the facts, and I know that people will wake up and applaud that news that this man, who is a convicted killer, tried to take his own life. Sorry, a lot of caffeine here. So, but I do try to stay very neutral, especially when it comes to on TV, when it comes to in day-to-day when I'm anchoring, because there are people out there who will tag me as biased. You know what I mean? If especially when we tell stories of, for instance, extreme Muslim attacks on nations, I try to really just tell it straightforward. If I come across too far one way, I'm not an unbiased reporter, and that's what I have to take into consideration as a journalist.
And do you, like, when you have live TV going on and you're in the middle of it, if you make a mistake, how do you recover from that?
Yes, that happens a lot, and the reality is, I hope that most people understand that when you speak, you know, will naturally every once in a while flub or mess up or misspeak or say the wrong thing. I try to keep ticking along, or sometimes we stop and laugh about it. I mean, sometimes it's funny. The other day I said fart. I'm not going to lie. I said this fight is far from over, and I said this fart is far from over, and it was hilarious. And I was very embarrassed, but we laughed about it. We took a moment and laughed about it. What else can you do? You know what I mean? I could really get down about every mistake I make, but look at Allie. She's still laughing about it. And I'm getting red again. So, yeah. But, you know, another quick story I wanted to tell you. I was at church last Wednesday, 2 Wednesday nights ago, and I was able to do some reporting about, have you guys heard the story of the naked farmer? Okay, so this is a farmer in outside Holland, and he was doing his farming in the winter in December, and he fell off his farming equipment in the snow. Actually, he fell into his farming equipment, and it tore his clothes off, and he was left naked in the snow, very injured. He's a man of great faith, and what he did at that point was he prayed. And he was able to find the strength and crawl up on his tractor and drive that tractor quite a long ways to the road and park it there in the road so that the next passing car who found him was able to help him, and he lived. And he was very, very injured. And yes, exactly. So to go to his home and talk to him and tell his story, a lot of what he told was about his faith and how, you know, he prayed to God that day, and God, you know, helped him through. And the angels, you know, his brother was like, you know, the angels that lifted him on that tractor when his body was so injured that he had no strength. So I was telling my friends at church this the other night, and they're like, so did you put that in the story? Well, absolutely. Those are his words. That's his story. And so I was able to tell that story, and it's a great story of faith. So his word got out, and that is why he spoke so publicly about it, is because he and his wife really believed that they were able to tell how God has helped them. And so they're very open in telling their story. And that was a great opportunity for me.
Well, thank you for answering all my questions. That was interesting to be interviewing you.